Welcome to my daily review. Today is Monday and it's August 11th. We have a very busy day today, although the stock market was kind of a slower tape, but there was a lot going on. The index made a new high today of 21,549, and then it had some selling into the close. So, down 64 points today or 0.3%, closed at 21,385 after making that high of 549. So it gave back a little bit, but I mean, if you look at the weekly, last week we were up 3.87%. And today, gave back 0.3%, just like a little dot on the radar there. So it doesn't look like much. That little speck there is what we lost today, but it was the type of action that, that we saw the morning very strong here for the first couple hours and selling off into the close. This is to be expected, I think, profit taking. But you also have some inflation data in the morning, which, probably turn out to be a nothing burger as well. All right, that's it. I don't really want to spend a lot of time here on the index. I will say that it is 2% above the 21, 5.1% above the 50. You'd always need to know the relations here. And we also know that this rally is really long in the tooth, and maybe it just wants to melt up forever and ever. But we also know that it takes the stairs up and the elevator down, so you have to be cautious. Below the 21, I'm much more cautious than now, where we're 2% above the 21. So, all right. With all that said, I want to get to stocks. There's a lot of stuff I need to get to today. And I guess I'll start with the Magnificent Seven. There's a lot of stocks in this group that I like here. Call it the Nasdaq 100. But this is Google. Yeah, I like this one a lot. It's surfing its five. You can see ever since this cup with the handle breakout, it's just been surfing the five. You got that one day there where it dived below the five, almost down to the 21. Right back here, right back in that slot, right back in the trend. And today we just had an inside day today. On Friday, it closed at 2.1% above the five. Now today, 1.3, getting closer to that five. I would say that's a buy off the five. If we get a little bit of a tug in the morning down to the five, maybe that'll be on the ready list. I like Meta as well. It's forming this little wedge pattern here, this pennant uh, pattern, if you will. This little, wedge after the big move higher. On earnings gap, it's just wedging here, allowing the moving averages to catch up. I like Meta. I like Google. Tesla is one that I'd put on. I talked about it over the weekend where it had the break above the downtrend line from last week. Yeah, on Friday, I believe it was, or Thursday. Yeah, Friday. Broke above the downtrend line, put it on today. It looked like it was really going to rip today, but the overall market was kind of weak. There you go. It was really ramping nicely, but then sold off into the close. I believe it went from, you could see the gap up in the morning there, 334 to 339, then ran all the way up to what, 346 and change, and then closed at 339. So, uh, I still hang in there. I like that break above the downtrend line. Obviously, it's got the pivot area of 367 with some other buy points along the way. Tesla looks pretty good to me. Netflix is another one that's in this group, I guess you could say, consolidating within a base, undercut the 50 here, and now looks to rally back above. Yeah, it broke above its downtrend line, just like Tesla did, right? So, can be considered, buy points. So yeah, Tesla and Netflix I like. Meta and Google I like. But I don't want to have all the same type of stocks, on my ready list, because if they get slammed, then you're really getting hammered if that's what you own. And with the rotation in the market, you're going to expect some rotation in this stuff, and you're going to expect some rotation out. I'm going to show you here today is some rotation that we've been seeing, a trend that we've been seeing. But I want to get to some of the earnings first. This morning we heard from Monday. They reported and sold off to the tune of 30%. And the enterprise software group is just getting absolutely slaughtered. You have to stay away from them and let the selling subside. I'm going to go through some of these names here in a little bit, but Monday, a terrible response to their earnings report. And that's not a good way to wake up on a Monday, down nearly 30%. Barrick. Now, gold was down a lot today. These guys reported, I think the report was fine. It's just, gold was down a lot. This one was down to 2.5%. And obviously it's got, profits from 17 up to 22 here. So it's made a little bit of a run and there are some profits there. The other one was FNV, Franco Nevada. They reported pulled back. I got to show you this on the 5 here. It looked like it was going to get slaughtered this morning, opened up way down. Thought, man, this is a terrible response. And I kind of forgot about it during the day. When I looked back, I was surprised to see it up, but it just saw buyers all day long. So after the little okey doke in the morning, the pullback to the 50 here, and then it rallied nicely. So yeah, the low was what, 165? Close at 175. Got this pivot point there at 179, call it 180. But yeah, not a bad response to earnings considering that the commodities were down pretty sharply today. All right, that's it for the earnings. I've got to get to some of the groups now. The big news in the morning, well, actually last night was um, China's going to charge 15% tax, I guess, or tariff, whatever you want to call it, on NVIDIA and AMD to sell their chips in China. I would have thought that AMD and NVIDIA would have been up on this news. They were kind of flat. AMD down, yeah, just 48 cents. But I'd went through the conference call from AMD last week, and Lisa Su specifically said our forward guidance does not include any revenues from China, zero. So even if they're taxed on, 15%, if they have 1 billion in revenues, they're only being taxed 150 million, and that 850 million is going to have to be accounted for in forward guidance. So they're going to have to raise forward guidance here pretty soon. I don't know how much revenues are going to get from China, but it's a large market. It's a significant amount. And yeah, so I would expect them to be raising guidance here pretty soon. Not right away. In a couple weeks maybe, but they should be raising guidance here pretty soon. All right, and also another beneficiary would be Taiwan Semi, which has been on a roll since breaking out of this cup with handle. It's just surfing its moving averages beautifully. So the chips in the news, kind of flattish, but yeah, I wouldn't give up on them. They look strong to me, all of them, all the three that I just showed you. All right, crypto was up a lot over the weekend, and then today kind of I wouldn't say crash. It fell. Bitcoin fell quite a bit today, but Coinbase still up $9. Right here up against the 50. That looks like Matombo right there today as it ran up to the 50 and got swatted. There it is. Looked like it was going to go, kind of like Tesla and some of the others, and then sold off. Still a nice gain, up nearly 3%, but it's got to get through that resistance there. And I think it will eventually. But MSTR was another one that I was watching here. Looked like it was going to move, and then man, especially at the open here, it came out strong, and then it gave you the old okey doke, right? It just fell right back down, still up $5 or 1.3%, but not the type of move that I would expect. And this one I may put on my ready list. Above 400, I do like it. Below, I do not. But it's got some overhead supply here, and if you look at the weekly, you can kind of see it a little better here. All these people who bought over here, above 400. So that could provide some resistance for MicroStrategy. A couple other ones, BMNR. This thing was all over the place today. I think it went from like 58 to 69 back to 59. There you go. There's the open. Yeah, 58. I think it ran up to over $70. Got to 70 and closed at 58.98. So very volatile. Swing traders like that kind of stuff. I should say day traders. But very strong move. And then the other one is SBET. Oh wow, this one closed lower. This one was all over the place as well. Yeah, this is I believe the Ethereum play, and this one ran up hard. Ethereum was up like 20% in the last week. sold off into the close, man. Lots of sellers there. Why? Well, because it's got all this overhead supply here, all these people that bought way up here, way above the current price, right? And so those people are selling. And it's a very, those two are just very volatile. You know, you have to know what you sign up for there. Buy the dips, sell the rips. I guess one other one I could show is Robinhood, one that I do own, one that I like. It looked like it was going to ramp up today again too, 117.47, and just pull back to that. I would call that the buy point, 113.44. I don't know if it's going to be, this week or next week, or, it's probably going to, you know, depending upon the market, I could see it going sideways here for a little bit before moving higher. It could also just, ramp up tomorrow. This one I think is going higher. There you can see the action today on the 5-minute chart. Ran up, gapped up at the open. Looked like it was going to have a strong day. There you can see up to 116.66, moved to 117.18, was at the high for the day. 117.47, about 1 p.m. Eastern, and then just sold off into the close. The last 3 hours was just a selling fest. People, I don't know, taking profits, getting cautious into the inflation data tomorrow. I don't know. You got to expect some profit taking, I guess, around highs. All right. That's it for the crypto group. I want to move on. I want to throw a curveball. I want to switch gears. Since I'm on the road, I want to switch gears to the construction group. And this is road, ramped last week. I didn't put this on my power earnings gap because, it qualified, but it was just below the 50 where the action happened, right? And it's been like this for a while here, right? Look at how long this has been. But now it's above its 50 and it's above all its moving averages. And Friday had a nice follow through day of 7.3%, and today up more than 1% on a day where the indexes were pretty weak. So road is one. GVA is another one that gapped up, not quite, it was 8% there. And then on Friday followed through 5%. And today made a new high there, up nearly 1%. So this group has been super strong. TPC, this is another one that gapped higher. Closed near the lows of the session on Thursday, 3% of the daily range, but Friday was up 2.5% today, just creeping along here, allowing this green line, the 5, to catch up. The other one is a Will Dan. This one is gone ballistic here. Just a quiet day today. You got to allow that moving average to catch up. But there's a lot of stocks in that group that are pretty darn strong. Sterling is my favorite. Gapped higher on earnings last week on the 5th, which is Tuesday. 9% went sideways, now allowing the 5 to catch up. Today it closed. Uh, what did it close at? Just a tick below the 5. Definitely one to watch here as it goes sideways, consolidating these gains here. I'd like to see a little bounce off that 5 here pretty soon for Sterling. Very strong name. All right, I'm going to move on to the more speculative names. IONQ, this is the quantum computer group. Very strong today. IONQ is up 7%, and Rigatoni or Rigetti, it was up 3.5%. Yeah, that was a strong group. QBTS is another one in the group. Yeah, just kind of muddling along. All right. I'm going to move on to TMDX. CEO bought $2 million worth of his own money, of his own stock. And it's the first insider buy at TMDX since 2023, I believe. You could see recently it broke, above that, downtrend line. I think that was an earnings move, pulled back to the moving average and popped today above the 50. So we like it above the 50, don't like it below it, but TMDX 11% move today. And that news that the CEO is buying shares. They only buy for one reason, they sell for many. And this is New Skin. A nice move today, up 18%, making a new 52-week high. CTEV is a thinly traded name in this medical group, software medical. Very nice move here on earnings and then following through here, making new highs every day. You got to like that. This thing really looks like it wants to. It's like the stair climber at the gym, right? Just climbing those stairs to higher prices. And then the last one I want to show in this group is, oh, MEDP. This one had a gap higher. I think I showed this a couple weeks ago. On that week, there were Reddit. made its big move the 22nd of July, 54% move. And then it just pulled back to the five, allowed the five to catch up. And that's a big gain, 54%. And now today it popped 3.5%. So let's take a look at this one on a shorter time frame. Yeah, nice little rally today. And then a longer time frame. We'll go to the weekly here. Yeah, there's your big move. Inside day looks like, kind of a short stroke pattern. And it's an inside week over inside week. And now, today it looks like it might start moving out of there. So we'll have to wait and see for med pace. Definitely like the move today, though, especially in a weaker tape. All right. I mentioned earlier the software names are just getting murdered. They're not all the same, okay? Some are different than others. Palantir, you could probably consider the leader of any kind of software group. Pull back today, 2%, but you could see this thing's been ramping since their earnings last week, where it ramped nearly 8%. Yeah, so it needs to digest some gains. The problem children are the Salesforce, this enterprise software. This thing has been absolutely murdered. I believe it replaced ExxonMobil in the Dow, and it hasn't done well since. Another one is ServiceNow, another one that's just diving here. No strength. So the thought process is for Wall Street, the narrative is that AI is going to make these companies obsolete, and maybe it's true. I kind of doubt it, but we'll see. And only price pays, so you can't fight the tape here. Even if you believe in service now, this is hands off, no go, adios muchachos. You can't hold on to this. This thing could go down a lot. I mean, a lot, and it's already come down from what? 1200, to 856. This thing's in a clear downtrend. Whenever you see that 50, cross below the 200, that's no bueno. I know it rallied back above, but here we are again, right? The 50's right at the 200. And this thing's like a anchor, like a weight on a boat, man. It's just anchored going south. You got to stay away from that. Just painful to watch. Okay, Oracle, kind of in the same group, but it's more of an AI stock. Considered it more of an AI stock, and this one's still surfing its moving averages and survived today nicely. AppLovin, of course, talked about this one last week on the weekend, and it's in a different type of software area. But yeah, technically that thing looks fantastic. A couple other ones, CoreWeave, which reports tomorrow. I got the Motambo there at the 50, which is what, 140, just a tick above 140. Okay, we'll see what they have to say tomorrow. It's only a day away. And this is a Nebius group up 2.1% today. It looked like it was really going to rally. It was up to like 76 and then pulled back. It's getting I shouldn't say it's getting ahead of itself. It broke out of this box. All right. Broke out of your little Darvis box here. And once they break out, they want higher prices, and that's what this one's doing. And it broke out on an earnings report. So, what they do with earnings is that, they say this thing's going to earn, they expect it to earn $1. Now they're going to, the data changes with the new earnings reports, and they got to change their models now. Instead of earning $1, it's going to be $2. And they upgrade the stock and they raise their models. And they buy the stock, and you can see these institutional footprints here. And that's kind of how it goes. When you surprise to the upside, for the most part. All right, and the last one here, just for kicks, is SOUN making, a move here today of 17%, not to be ignored, following up on the earnings move Friday. Man, this one looks super strong. Yeah, 26% followed up by 17. Thank you very much. All right, some software gaming stocks. EA making a huge move today. Breaking out, very nice. So not all the software, as I'm saying, there's like a divergence here. And so you really have to know what you own in this software space. Roblox, another one of these gaming stocks, just surfing the five. It made this big move after earnings and just came right back down and just doing what it was doing prior. That's surfing the five to higher prices. And what, oh, the other one is Take Two. This is the Grand Theft Auto group. And I think once Grand Theft Auto is released, this will do a little better. It's just consolidating within the base here. But yeah, Grand Theft Auto is a big game for them. All right, I'm going to move on to some drug stocks. I had mentioned a couple in my weekend video, just following up here. ANIP, nice move. Gapped higher, and this is why you pay attention to these big gaps higher, and it moved another 4% today. What else do we have? Oh, RIGL, Wriggle. Wriggle's gonna wiggle higher, man. This thing just a monster. Up 23%. That's not enough. Nope. So what did it do on Thursday? It went up another 2%. Friday rallied up again because it wants higher prices, up 4%. Today, 5.5%. Look at this big volume bars here. So somebody's buying Wriggle Pharmaceuticals and likes their numbers, I guess. I don't think that's short covering. Um, yeah, so it's got some growth going on here. So nice move there for Wriggle. All right, MIRM. Another one making a big strong move today, up nearly 10%. And then INSM, they're going to have a PDUFA here this week sometime, and it could be priced in a little bit. Could be a, buy the rumor, sell the news event. I think they're going to get approved. I don't know what's going to happen to the stock. You'd think it would trade higher, but it could sell off too. Um, anyway, that one, I'm looking for news for that one this week. I'm going to move over to defense. Defense wins championships. KTOS, nice strong move today. AIR, another one that I like as it pulled back here to the 50. Bounced a little bit on Friday. Today, a little bit. It looked like it was really going to move this morning. I had high hopes for this one. It capped higher. Still closed with a gain, but I mean, this thing was up to 77.92. Close at 75.40. All right. Rocket Lab. They reported last Thursday or Friday, had this fake out move on Friday up to 49.92 and just pulled back to the 50, broke above this, downtrend line here and really thought it was going to move and it didn't. Excuse me, not the 50, the 21. So it's sitting here right at the 21. And it's just it's like a boat anchor here. Can't move off that line there. Um, Friday looked like it was going to pulled back, so I'm looking for this one to make a break here pretty soon. We'll have to see. All right, the next group I'm getting to is the power equipment group. This is NVT. Believe I put this one on my Reddit list this week. If not, I should. This thing's just flagging here nicely, pulling back to the five. Lighter volume. I like that a lot. POWL, this is another power equipment stock making a nice move today above that 252 area. So that one looks strong. And then Vertiv, I don't know. Vertiv is just looked like it was going to move. Now it just pulls back to the moving average and forming this little wedge pattern here, which we've seen a lot lately, and they've been working well, which reminds me of Fix. Comfort Systems here making this gap higher and now just forming this little, flag pattern. Take a look at this one on the weekly. Yeah, this big move. It's got this 3 weeks tight area, and today just flat. I don't think it's going to stay flat forever. We've seen these flags, break out recently, and stuff like Laser had this high tight flag pattern and then broke out last week. Um, with a nice, I don't know, like a 30% move. There's your pole and there's your flag, and then it takes off. I now don't expect Fix to do that because it's not a real fast mover, but yeah, Laser was up 30% last week. But that pattern has been working, and you can see how long, it was flagging for quite some time as opposed to Fix, which just, started flagging. So you got to be patient. You got to show some patience if you want to have the big winners. All right. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up, except in honor of the great Steve Jobs. I have one more thing. That's earnings tonight, ASTS. I mean, this is you got to be a bit of a speculator. You got to be willing to believe in the future because their earnings aren't, and their sales are not not they're not anything to write home about. But yeah, pie in the sky, no pun intended. But yeah, up 6% on the earnings tonight. So somebody likes it. They missed. I think I don't even want to speculate. I forget what it was. I think they expected like 5 million in sales and they had 1 million or something like that. But it doesn't matter. Only price pays. And they talked about all their new projects. So yeah, that one. probably going higher. OKLO, this is that group, the electric alternative energy group, nuclear power, pull back to the 21 prior to the print today. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. I didn't really see the earnings report, but once again, you have to look into the future and speculate and believe that they're going to have sales and earnings at some point. Anyway, BBAI, I did see that this thing was getting slaughtered after hours, yeah, down 20, whatever, 25%. That's enough pain and torture. Archer, once again, another one of these companies that, without the sales and earnings, it's hard for me to really dig in and get real big size on stuff like that. Small company, yeah. Wow, they have 433 million shares in their float. All right. And the last one is MVST, another little low price company down 8%. All right, and tomorrow morning we hear from Circle once again. God, it's one of these companies that just doesn't have you know a lot to hang your hat on, really. It's a $161 stock, right? Um, yeah, and they're going to earn 70 cents this year. At least they got some earnings here, some cash flow, but man, it's pretty expensive stock. They report tomorrow. SE reports tomorrow. They've been going up on earnings. I wouldn't be surprised to see them pop. They're consolidating within a base below the 50. I would like to see this thing have strong earnings, rally through the 50 tomorrow morning. They report kind of early, as does on Holdings. They make the shoes. They got hammered with Deckers and Crocs. Deckers got roasted, and then Crocs, they got their boots beat off of them. Yeah, this is yeah. They have a Sydney Sweeney advertising for them, and it's just not working for them. So I think On Holding is doing better than those other two, but I don't know how much, and I don't know if it's going to be enough to drive the stock higher. Last one before we go, Cardinal Health reports in the morning. These stocks have been, hammered too, but this one's consolidating within a base below the 50. We could see if it can rally here in some decent numbers. That's it for me. Thank you for watching. I'll have much more in the morning. I'm going to try and start posting like a 5-minute video in the morning. I'll still have our ready list for those, and cover some of the stocks going up and down. But I just give you some thoughts in like a 5-minute video because reading all that narrative, takes time. And if I could just pop out a short little video on my thoughts for this session, I think that'll be helpful. So look forward to that. Maybe tomorrow, sometime this week. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching NMCStockCharts.com. We never give up.